Hey guys, I just wanted to share an experience that I'm currently going through. It's dealing with perceptions and how we can perceive outcomes of a particular event to be either helpful or harmful, and actually we have a choice in this. And how we exercise that choice often has a significant impact on our well-being and our self-confidence. So recently I applied for a senior role within the current business that I'm working in, and I had an interview, and I felt the interview went pretty well. And so after the interview, I wasn't feeling needy. I was more than willing to accept the outcome of my actions. I had done what I could have done in terms of controlling the situation. I'd put my best foot forward, and now it was up to other people to make their decisions that I was no longer able to influence. So I was feeling good about this. I was not feeling under pressure. I wasn't feeling nervous. I was open to just letting the world respond. And so I didn't get the role. And obviously I was disappointed about this because I was really excited about the role and I really did want to get it. But I understand that you don't always get what you want, and that was okay. What I struggled with most about not getting this role was the feedback that I received. Now, the feedback I received was actually really positive. They told me that I'd interviewed really well, that I had absolutely nailed the interview in all areas, that I was actually the second choice candidate, that the main difference between me and the person who was offered the role was that they were already currently in the role, and so they were a known entity, and I was an unknown entity coming from a different area of the business. And so, I was able to perceive this in a couple of different ways. Now, my inner critic instantly focused in on the fact that whilst being second place is great, sure, that's wonderful, it doesn't actually get you the outcome you want. Second place in the job interview is basically first loser. And so that's where my mind started to go to, right? It started to wander into that, whatever you do, you're never going to be good enough to get that next step up. You're never going to achieve that sort of success. Because this is not the first time that I'd come second in interviews and been told that, I'd interviewed really well, but for whatever reason, I wasn't quite the first choice candidate. And so that inner voice, that inner critic was really playing in my head. And the other way to look at it, and the way that I kept challenging that inner critic, was to say, well, yeah, okay, so you didn't get the outcome, but you still got to an interview for a highly senior role within your current organization. You did really well across the board with the interview, and you felt really good about your performance. And actually, being second is pretty damn good. Yep, the outcome is not what you wanted, but that's life. Now, I sort of yo-yoed back and forward around these two perspectives. Sometimes my inner critic has really played loud in my head and said, well, yeah, that's all good, but so the fuck what? You still missed out on the job. So one of the things I've really had to do, and one of the things I'm still doing, because it's still playing in my mind a little bit, it only happened a couple of days ago, is I shared my frustrations with some of my mentors at work and discussed through them and got their perspective, and they acknowledged sort of what I was saying. Yep, so I could look at it in a positive light, that yeah, I'd smashed the interview and I'd done really well, or I could look at it in a negative way and say, well, yeah, it doesn't matter what regards to the interview, the outcome wasn't what I wanted. So I've had a choice, right? I've got a choice between two perspectives. And I'm not able to completely dismiss the perspective that the interview is a failure, that I'm a failure. My inner critic still plays. But what I'm really been trying to do, and what I found really helpful, is A, acknowledging it, B, sharing it, and C, every time that inner critic comes up, challenge it. Challenge it with, yep, that is one way to look at it, but here's another way to look at it. And I've just been doing that in my own mind. I've just been speaking that in my own mind, listening to the sound of my own voice challenge my inner critic. And what I'm really trying to do is just reinforce and really cement that idea within my head that yes, I can still choose to perceive it negatively, but at the same time, I'm associating that there's a positive way to perceive it. So it's almost impossible for me to think about the negative perception without also thinking about the positive perception. And for me, I find that really powerful, right? I want to choose in my life to perceive things in a positive way. I don't want to dismiss the negative. It's there, and that's definitely one way to look at it. And I'm not ignoring it. But either way that I perceive it, it doesn't change the outcome. There's no benefit in me perceiving it in the less negative way. If there was, then I should explore that, right? I should say, well, so why is the benefit? What is the benefit? Is it going to challenge me to grow as an interviewee? Is it going to make me take action that is helpful in the long term? And so I've self-reflected and I've self-assessed, and I haven't been able to determine if there's a positive to that perception. So I think that's really important, is perception is a choice. When you have an outcome, whether it's negative, positive, helpful, harmful, however you want to phrase it for yourself, you can choose how to perceive it. I believe there is always two sides, at least two sides, probably more, right? But there's always two sides at least to every situation. Sometimes the benefits might not seem obvious at the start, sometimes they are. I think in this case, the benefit or the perception that actually I did really well in that interview, and so that I can continue to, if I continue to interview like that, if I continue to apply for jobs at that level, eventually I will be the first candidate. I will be the top candidate and I will get offered the role. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it means that I just need to keep applying, I need to keep putting myself out there, and I need to keep taking risks. And that sort of positive perception encourages me to do that. It builds me to do that. I feel that if I focused on the negative perception, it would undermine my confidence to do that. The inner critic would get louder and louder, and that's what I find. The more I listen to it, the louder that voice gets, and the more I doubt myself, the more I shy away from taking those actions that I need to take. So if you've got similar stories, I would love to hear about them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on perception. Give me your perception on the idea that perception is a choice. I'd love to discuss it more. But I hope you find this useful, and I hope you find the idea that whatever happens in your life, you can choose how to perceive it. It's not to say that you dismiss the other side of the coin, but you can choose what side of the coin you do want to focus on. All right, take care. Thanks for watching my video.